One thing guys I've realized in this life ni kwamba freedom without responsibility is a very dangerous element you can ever acquire in your life. That's what I've realized in this life, and as I continue to share with you about my story and about my life, one mistake that led me to wherever I found myself in was led by the freedom without responsibility. And even as I remember, the day I decided to move out from Nyeri and to come to Nairobi, I was seeking for freedom. I was tired. You know, my mom looking at me, looking for me everywhere, every day. You know, we were living like antelope on the lion. And I said, I think I am tired of this life and I need to move out from this town. And so, one of these days, as we were resting in a crowd called Kamkunji in Nyeri, we saw a boy. And this boy, some of the boys in the street boys in Nyeri knew him. They used to call him Pygmy. He was short, black in complexion, and he was wearing a green uniform. And he was welcomed to the group. And the guys were, you know, asking all over, hey, umekuwa wapi Pygmy, kwani kuliendaje? And the guy had to share the story that, you know, I've escaped from Muthaya Approved School, and I said, let me come through this way, Nyeri, because it is also my base and my backyard. And actually seeing you and greeting you as I pass back to Nairobi. And when I heard his story, I was interested to know more about Nairobi, because this guy has come from Nairobi. He was arrested in Nairobi. He was convicted in Approved School. Now he has escaped from Approved School in Muthaya. Now he has come to Nyeri and he is sharing a story about Nairobi. For me, I was seeking for freedom, a freedom that no one will disturb me. And the guy sat us down and he began to share the story, and shared the story, and I was gaining interest more and more as he was continuing to share this story. And sometimes later, I sat with him down. You know, I am this guy who has a very unique personality. For me, to make friends from new people, it's not a difficult thing for me. And so I called him aside and I began now to interrogate him. It's like kind of interrogation, asking him questions about Nairobi. You know, he could share the stories about Nairobi, how Nairobi is a big town, a big city. You know, you can go around without, you know, completing the straw during the day. And he shared many stories about Nairobi. And I was getting interested for Nairobi. This is back in 1992, in the beginning of 1992, and I said, I think I am more interested in Nairobi more than Nyeri, because Nyeri is a small town. Whenever my mom comes, you know, I have to run from this side to that side, you know, and I said, let me plan myself and I will go to Nairobi. In the beginning of 1992, you remember, those who were there during those times, the campaign of the first multi-party election were beginning now to heat up in this country. And so there were some clashes in some areas like Burnt Forest and Molo. And I was, you know, hearing all these stories all the time. And out of the stories that I used to hear about Molo crashes, about Burnt Forest crashes, I came up with a story. You know, that I am from Molo. My parent and I were banished from that area because of the crashes, and now I don't know where my parent went, And for me, I boarded the bus and I ended up in Nairobi. That is the story that I came up with. And I said, now I have to plan to go to Nairobi. You know, there were these buses used to call Chairman and Jogo Kimakia. They used to come to Nairobi, and the conductors who used to, you know, they call themselves Jazabeba. You know, these who call people to fill the bus to Nairobi, and they are not going, you know, they call Jaza. I talked to them and I told them, you know, I want to go to Nairobi, I want to visit Nairobi. And they asked me, who are you visiting in Nairobi? And I told them, I want to visit my aunt in Nairobi, and she will pick me up from Gara stage. And they refused my request, actually. And now I had to come back now to plan again and again and again. You remember the buses used to call Nyayo bus? I think I was so shy. Nyayo bus, I came up with a story, and I went and I boarded the bus. I went near driver and I shared the story with the driver without conductor knowing. I shared the story with the driver that, you know, I'm visiting my auntie in Nairobi and she will pick me up at Gala in the road called Park Road. And all these stories, I've acquired them from Peggy. And this guy told me, it's okay, haina shida, tutakupeleka. And you see, in my plan, I knew, as I have talked to driver, because now I knew that conductor at some point anaweza kakataa my request, but if I go to the driver na nimkatie driver aingie box, then conductor hana shida. And that's what I did. I went to conductor and we talked I talked to driver, and driver accepted my request, and I sat beside the driver. You know, this kifuniko ya engine ya basi, I sat there. You know, there was a caution I was given there, and I sat there. So there is no seat that, you know, I could pay, because now I'm sitting, I have no seat, I am sitting here near the driver. And I started the story with the drivers, you know, giving all these stories, you know, stories mingi ambazo hazina mwelekeo. And that's how I end up in Nairobi. Now, me coming up to Nairobi, I was seeking for freedom, a freedom that I am not answerable to anyone. But one thing I failed to see, or maybe I failed to anticipate, is the danger that was awaiting of me in future. You know, sometimes making decisions without anticipation, or making decisions without trying to look at the future, is a very dangerous thing you can do. Because for me, I made that decision to come to Nairobi, but I didn't see this freedom that I was, you know, willing to acquire. Ni kitu gani itakuja kuniletea baadaye. And let me tell you, the suffering that I was going through in Nyeri, comparing to the suffering I am coming now to face in Nairobi, were two different suffering. Because just remember this, that this place I am coming is too far from home. This place that I am coming, no one knows me. At least in Nyeri, you know, at some point there were people in Kamkunji ground who were selling YouTubers, and some people in Majengo who knew me. And so at some point, maybe life ikinizidia, I could have ran to those people and acquire some help. Now I am in a city very far from home. No one knows me. And this is what I want to share with you guys, that sometimes you may have an interest to have the freedom without responsibility. But can I tell you something? That it is better to have someone who you are answerable to, more than having a freedom that is unanswerable. Because, you know, accountability is the good thing that you can acquire in this life. And that's why we say it is better to walk to people, because one will keep you accountable. In the scripture, we are told that it is best to be your brother's keeper. When you have a brother a brother who can take care of you. You know, when I came out in Nairobi, I met people who purported to be my friends. And I acquired friends who showed me and you know, a counterfeit, a fake love. And you know, being embraced with the people who have a fake love is a very dangerous thing you can ever have in your life. Ama bestie, ama marafiki ambao nilifikiria kwamba they are my friends, they were only my friends because of what I could, you know, I could brought on the table during that time. Whenever I didn't have something to bring on the table, we were not friends. We were just, you know, we were just guys. We were just dudes. Ya kwamba you have to bring this, you know, we have to call you champe because of the things you are not doing. But the day you fail to do those things, you are not on our side. And those are the people I began to live with in Nairobi. Yet no one I am answerable to. Hakuna mtu ambaye ninaweza nikasema ya kwamba with that they will ask me questions about life. No one. And my life from there ilianza kuingia, you know, kutokomea. What do I want to say? Yeah, my life began to sink bit by bit into the pit of mud and mire. A pit I could not, you know, move out by myself, because now this pit was so deep and it had, you know, the man that like a clay, you know, matope ambayo yamekushikilia na yako ni kama, you know, they are stacking, and so it was difficult for me to come out from that pit. And this is what I wanted to tell you. Ya kwamba sometimes wakati unajiambia you know things, those things can be dangerous to you because sometimes hauzijui na hauelewi italeta nini, but kwa sababu ya kujiambia, you know, in Kikuyu we say kwamba mweri itaganyoko. You know, sometimes when you are telling yourself that you know things, that is the point you understand you know nothing. Because if only I knew that my life was getting into the pit of mud and mire, maybe at some point ninge make a decision ya kurudi Nyeri. But now I was going far and far and far, seeking for freedom without knowing that this freedom will bring danger in my life. Let me nifike hapo siku ya leo, but as we continue with this story and the running process, ni kwamba when you are making the decision, when you are seeking freedom, make sure that freedom will be a freedom with responsibility. And that is the beauty of life and the best thing that can ever happen for you. Thank you. Goodbye for now. Tukutane at that segment of Through My Eyes Alive story. Thank you. Huyu ni Sam K Washuri. Have a nice week and have time as you watch this video. Bye bye for now.